I want to speak while I'm changing the strings to this guitar and turn into something different. I want to speak about language exchange, how difficult it is if you sorry the audio, there are some words here. I have to close the door. If you are serious about language exchange and don't want to waste your time, let's think that language exchange, for the most part, is not 1 hour of language learning, many times, depending on the person, but many times the idea is half and a half. What does it mean? That actually to get 1 hour of practice, you need to put into hours of time, because you have also to teach your own language. Unless you want to practice teaching your own language, that is also kind of skill. You need to compare how much would I learn on my own in 1 hour, and how much am I learning through language exchange. And people think, oh, you're speaking with a native speaker, everything is no, not really. First of all, let's take into account that when it comes to language exchange, you're not dealing with professional most of the times. Professionals are paid. Professional people who know how to correct you, know your psychology, know psychology of learners. They're not psychiatrists or psychologists, but they know what usually is not well received and what it is. So this is one of the problems. And moreover, that when you're a beginner, it's very difficult. To me, it's not that difficult if you know it. If you know, it's not exceedingly difficult to teach a beginner. But if you have no idea and you think you just can't speak, no, you have to put things simply. You have to stress the pronunciation. You have to talk more than the other person. A person who just begun, if you let him talk too much, you teach him how to talk in a bad way, because it's not that you teach at the moment and the person is able to pronounce well. It takes a lot of doing to get not only the sounds but the reflexes, because there are rules in the languages, some unstressed, or most of them in Russian are pronounced a. When you learn Turkish, there's harmonic, there's a vowel harmony. What does it mean? It means that in order to pronounce well, you need to spend hours, literally hours, listening to the language, to the lessons you've been doing. For example, I use this for Russian. This is the CD of the method, and I listen to the lesson. I don't understand the shit. Then I read the written part. I read the written part. And I don't know where I put the... I say you read the written part and I lost the pin. I don't understand. No, 1, 2, 3. No. So I said, I read the written part, then I read the notes, like the way it's done. There are pictures with the jokes. It's a well conceived method. It's not perfect. I prefer to go through a method completely and then buy another one, check what's new. But I need to know that I'm doing my homework. And that's not a given for many people. People take it like a hobby. In the English tradition, hobbies are kind of serious. I need people who play. I play the cornet, play brass as a hobby, and they are extremely good. Not so in many countries. People. I don't say that British people or English-speaking people speak foreign languages well, but what I want to say that when you can do something even if you're not a professional. What the fuck? Sol. Okay, Sol is the lowest note. Okay. So the good thing about this is we're high and low. Okay, I didn't know that. And this is a big problem because it is a loop and loop hand. Loop hand means that there's no, it's difficult. Let's see if I can I can make it. Anyway, there's also a bump in the road. So I was speaking about I was speaking a little bit. This groove is not groovy enough. No. Given the size, I'm forced to make a decision to change the arrangement according to the groove. Not the one I prefer, but the one is better here. So I was speaking about language change. So when you are a beginner, you need someone who knows how to deal with beginners, learners, and people think, it's just changing or whatever. No, it's not like that. It's not like that. Another thing is that um, uh, even if you're not a beginner, you should have you should not compete. Some people learn languages for their egos rather for sheer love for the language they are learning. So if I find somebody who is on another level, it can be competition, either because one is too good or the one is not that good. So and it's very difficult to find somebody who is I think I made a mess here. I think it's very difficult to find somebody who is on your same I need at the end the ball end and this. Okay, I think this video is going to be very long. So find somebody who doesn't put pressure on you, and makes you feel comfortable, even if he knows your language much better than you know his. It's kind of tricky. So that's another bump in the road. Finding people who are able to make you feel comfortable. And obviously, it's a given that you should do as much the same. So, people who know how to deal technically, the language is change. People who know how to deal psychologically from the human standpoint, the language, for Christ's sake, the language exchange. Then all these are, I think, the restricting amounts of people that, unless you have a lot of time on your hands and okay, I don't give a shit, I get a little from this language exchange, it isn't a big a deal. Then there is another point. People who want to learn your language and you want to learn their language, depending on the language you speak, should be a language that many people speak, and the language you're learning is the law of demand and offer, and so another limiting point to the people who you can deal with. are the things is the time zone. Most people work and they are home late in the afternoon, and many people come from work. Most of people are not that motivated. What does it mean? They take language learning as a chore and they tend to postpone maybe the end of the week. Not because they don't have time. I think people have time for 1 hour, assuming it's half an hour one language and half an hour the other language. The problem is that people that are tired and they don't take language learning as something they are really enthusiastic about. Yeah, I mean, this is going nowhere. They tend to postpone. Other thing is that as I said before, is inside what I said before, this style of learning. I think that there are many styles of learning are going nowhere, but people, they like learning a language, that like they learn history or geography. Too bad it doesn't work. Then the kind of software they use. I tend to use Skype, some people use Telegram and whatever. Some people are stupid enough to think that language exchange is just exchanging messages. Okay, if you're learning a dead language like ancient Greek, not spoken anymore in that form, because ancient Greek became modern Greek and Latin became Italian and other Latin languages, I wouldn't say dead, changed. I mean, there's no person who speak that since their birth, okay? In spite of the fact people can be quite fluent in Latin, The problem is that people don't know how to go about learning a foreign language. Generally speaking, that means in every step of their let's see what she wrote. 18 minutes. Another thing that is kind of limiting is your age and your sex. Mainly if you're a man. Everybody likes a female counterpart. Not everybody like a male counterpart. Some women don't like men, both sexually and but that's another. They don't like men like as friends, or as generally speaking, they don't trust men. I think they have serious psychological problem, but that's me. And God damn it. Another problem is that I say the software, the sex, the age, and even sometimes there are political problems at hand learning Russian, given the problem, what I think about what's going on. I actually avoid completely Ukrainian people. Maybe there are Ukrainian people who think they're like-minded, but for the most part, no. I don't want to get into this thing. Given the moment, also, I don't like to deal with Israeli people, not Hebrew, Jewish, Israeli specifically. I don't have anything against Jewish people, far from it. And I think there are many Israeli people who don't like what's going on. But I don't want to find myself in a situation where I have to quarrel over bombing, and I'm very sensitive about that, because there are millions, hundreds of thousands of lives involved. Okay, so depending on the language you speak, I tend to speak Russian with the Russians because I like Russians. If I like the Ukrainian language, I would have learned the Ukrainian language. So I prefer to speak with people who not only speak the language fluently, because there are many people who speak Russian almost like a native language in the former Soviet Union republics, but I don't want to deal with people that fundamentally dislike Russian. It's very difficult. They will never speak about the cultural thing, of learning a foreign language, and there is a cultural thing. And then there is, I said, the fact that you, disregarding major psychological problem, even if the person is alright, maybe it's boring, maybe you have different interests, and at the beginning it's a language, but in the long run you make friends with the person, or you get to know the person, and you don't make friends with the person, and you tend to avoid learning a language or improving your level in a language with a person that you fundamentally find boring or annoying. So at the end of the day, is language exchange really easy? No, it isn't. It isn't at all. Maybe because I became wary and weary because of my past experiences, but I think that learning, this is too big, learning a foreign language through language exchange with people who are not trained to do that, people who maybe are on a different level, people who have different time availability, people who time availability is also time zone problem, reach them at a certain time of the day, people who want to have language exchange once in a blue moon, so you have every time. It's kind of annoying, and in the long run you say, okay, why do I say that? Because nowadays you can listen to the language you want to whenever you want. When I was learning modern Greek, there were not many people. I didn't have the chance to speak the language as long as I want to listen to the language, as they are doing some on the, actually they are installing a lift or elevator. Just a moment. here I am. Time goes fast when you're doing, you are absorbed, preoccupied in doing something. So at the end of the day, is it worth trying it? Well, at the beginning we do that, hoping for the best. Then a person like me, who is a pain in the ass, generally speaking, I'm outspoken, I'm not a very, when there's something I don't like, I say that immediately up front. Most of the times my intuition and insight is alright, so I avoid unpleasant situations most of the times. I can get wrong, I can be wrong, but okay, this is tricky. So time and effort, sometimes it's better to find a professional and you pay, because time is money. So you pay him, you know you've been paying, that means that you tend to study and do whatever he told you because you invested money. Okay, if you have money to invest. That's my thing. Obviously, there are variables, the language you're learning, the demand and offer, the time you have time on your hands. If you, are able to deal with people that are boring, that teach and helps you in a very bad way, but say, okay, I have a lot of time on my hands, I've been studying my languages on my own, this time is not taken from the time that I should devote to regular learning with lessons, progressive, written by expert linguists and professionals. Okay, you can do that. Otherwise, it's a shot in the dark, really. My experience that I never had profitable, proflicus, beneficial language exchange for an extended time. Anyway, if it makes you study more because hey, you need to speak with real people, okay, but don't think that is easy, is a game changer thing. It isn't. For the most part, it isn't. Could be, theoretically, if there were not all these variables and people were not that stupid about language learning. I don't like when people send me so many messages before even speaking to me. When you contact a person, try to contact when you know that he is free, available, you are free, available, you can speak immediately. Ooh, I made it. Goodbye.